Good morning everyone. This lecture is for class 6th, subject Social Science, chapter number 7 of Geography, and the name of the chapter is Our Country, India. As you know that one of the lecture from this chapter we have already covered, in which we have done the geographical expanse of India, neighboring countries of India, along with the political division of India. Now it's going to be our lecture number 2. Now let's see the topics that will cover in today's lecture. Physical divisions of India, or you can say the physical features of India. Here will cover which physical features. Let's see the Himalayan mountain, the mountain that is there in the northern part of India, one of the physical feature that will cover. Second, the northern Indian plains, just south to Himalaya, there is northern Indian plains. Those are formed by different rivers and their tributaries. Number 3, the Great Indian Desert in western part of India, the part of Rajasthan basically. There the Great Indian Desert that is that its name is Thar Desert basically. So that will cover here. Then the Peninsular Plateau. In previous lecture we have already covered the meaning of peninsula, the land mass that is surrounded by water from 3 sides, and we had taken the example of India only. So that Peninsular Plateau will discuss here. Number 5, the islands, the 2 islands, Lakshadweep and Andaman and Nicobar Island. They both are the part of India. So we'll discuss all these physical features, or you can say physical divisions of India one by one. And at last there will be the homework. So let's start. The Himalayan mountain. As mountain, the meaning we had already covered in one of the chapter, the naturally elevated land, and that there also we had covered the example Himalaya, Himalayan range, Himalayan mountains. So now we'll discuss about Himalayan mountain here as one of the physical feature of India. The Himalayas stand in the north. Him plus Ala means the abode of snow. Abode means house. Like with the name we describe him, that refers to snow, and Ale that refers to house. So that is the abode of snow, house of snow. As we know that the peaks of the mountains that are in Himalayan range, they are covered with the snow all the time. So that's why him plus Ale means the abode of snow. It is just the meaning of the word Himalayan. Clear? Himalaya mountains are divided into 3 parallel ranges. Ranges means when the mountains are arranged in a line. So 3 parallel lines, 3 parallel ranges are there in Himalaya. What are the names of those ranges? Great Himalaya or Himadri. The world's highest peaks are located in this range. The topmost, you can say, range of Himalaya, that is Great Himalaya, and another name of it is Himadri, and it is consisting the world's highest peaks like K2, Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, Dholavira. So these mountain peaks, they are located there in this range. Its name is Great Himalaya or Himadri. The second range, it is Middle Himalaya and also known as Himachal. Popular hill stations are situated in this range. And what is the speciality of this Middle Himalaya? Most of the hill stations, they are situated in this range like Manali, Simla, Nainital. So the speciality means that the different hill stations are situated, and its name is Middle Himalaya or the Himachal. The third one is Shivalik. This is the southernmost range of Himalaya. So these are the three parallel ranges of Himalayan mountains. One of the physical feature that is covered now. Now the second one, that was the northern Indian plains. As plains, you know very well how can we define the large stretches of flat land that is known as plain. Clear? In previous chapter we had already covered the meaning of plain. Now northern Indian plain. The northern Indian plains are located just south to the Himalayas. Himalayan mountains in the north, just south to Himalayan mountains, there are northern Indian plains, and they are formed by the different rivers. Those are coming there from the Himalayan region. Clear? These plains are formed by alluvial deposits laid by different rivers and their tributaries like Ganga and Brahmaputra. These two rivers form the world's highest delta. Okay, listen this point very carefully. First part, they are saying that these plains are formed by alluvial deposits laid by different rivers. The rivers like Ganga, Brahmaputra and their tributaries, when they are coming from the mountainous areas, they are in the plain. They deposit the soil there that they bring there from the mountains. They just erode the mountains and bring the material with them, the eroded material. That eroded material they deposit there in the plains. So alluvial deposits are the deposits. They are of very fine quality soil. So they deposit there and they make these parts very fertile for the agriculture. Then here one more thing it is described, Ganga and Brahmaputra. These two rivers form world's largest delta. Now first of all you must know what is delta. Delta is basically a land mass there that the rivers form on their mouth. Mouth means when they are entering in the ocean. The river's mouth means when the rivers they enter there in the ocean, that place is known as river's mouth. So delta is formed by different rivers there on their mouth, and it is of triangular shape. The type of land that is in triangular shape and is formed there on the mouth of the river when they are draining their water into the ocean. So clear? Delta, the land mass, the triangular land mass that is formed at the mouth of river when they are draining their water in the oceans. So that Ganga and Brahmaputra, these two rivers all together, they join, their streams are joined there, and they all together then drained their water. They are in Bay of Bengal. There they are forming the world's largest delta, and this delta name is Sundarban Delta. So world largest delta is Sundarban Delta, that is formed by Ganga and Brahmaputra river. Now these river plains are fertile, so they can sustain large population. These river plains, though the plains that we talk about, those are formed by different rivers and their tributaries. They are very fertile lands and they can sustain large population. If you remember, in previous chapter we had done that the plain areas, they have the water, they have the different features. That's why the more population can live there, or you can say there. In this chapter also one question you will see, you will get here, why do the large number of people they live in northern plain? So this is the reason the land is fertile here. Another reason, means of transport are developed here. Then more opportunities of employment exist in the plains. How the more employment that can be existing? Because the land is flat here, so factories and different companies, they are easy to set up there. So that's why more opportunities for employment, they are present in the plains. So due to all these reasons, we can say that the more people, they live there in the plains. Clear? So one question that you will get in homework also, why do the more people, why do number of people they live there in the northern plains? So this is all about the northern Indian plains. The next feature, that is the Great Indian Desert. Desert, the area that has either the extreme hot climate or extreme cold climate. There are basically two types of desert, hot desert and cold desert. So where the climate that is extreme hot and extreme cold, and how can we define them? The area that has less vegetation due to that extreme hotness or extreme coldness. Clear? So Great Indian Desert, if you talk about, in the western part of India it is located. Let's see. It lies to the western parts of India. The western part, the area of Rajasthan, as you know that Thar Desert of India, it is famous. And if we talk about the world largest desert, it is Sahara Desert. They are in Africa. So what are the features? It is hot and sandy land that we talked about here, and it receives very less rainfall. That's why it has very little vegetation. So in the features of desert, we can write that the area that has hot and sandy land and receives very less rainfall, because of that only it has the scarce vegetation, or you can say very little vegetation there. So this is all about the Great Indian Desert, that is Thar Desert there. Clear about this feature? The next is the Peninsular Plateau. We will see all these features, they are in the map also. Firstly, listen very carefully, understand them, then I will show you the location also. Peninsular Plateau, they are in the southern part of India. As peninsula, I have already told you. So it is triangular in shape. If we talk about the Peninsular Plateau of India, that is in triangular shape. First thing. Now, this is the region with many hill ranges and valleys. Hill ranges like Satpura hill ranges, Vindhyas hill ranges, those are present there in Peninsular Plateau. Valleys, the lowland, those are formed by different rivers. So there in Peninsular Plateau, different rivers are flowing. About them also we'll discuss. So different in this region, many hill ranges and valleys are present. The plateau is rich in minerals such as coal and iron ore. As we discussed in previous chapter also, that plateaus, they are rich in mineral resources. So this plateau is also rich in minerals, and which minerals are particularly present there? Coal and iron ore. The rivers like Narmada and Tapti flow here from east to west, and they drain their water in Arabian Sea. They are known as west flowing rivers. This is also one of the question given in exercise. Write the names of west flowing rivers. Okay, because in Peninsular Plateau, most of the rivers are east flowing rivers. Only these two rivers, Narmada and Tapti, they flow in opposite direction to other rivers. Clear? That's why they are important, and that question it is also given. Name the west flowing rivers. So west flowing rivers are Narmada and Tapti. they are flowing, they are in these hill ranges, they are Satpura and Vindhyas. I will show you, they are in the map also. The west border of plateau is Western Ghat or Sahyadri, and the east boundary is Eastern Ghats or Eastern Ghat. The west borders of plateau, they are known as Western Ghats, and another name of Western Ghats, that is Sahyadri. We'll talk about these both ghats also separately. And the east boundary of this peninsular plateau, that are Eastern Ghats. Now, coastal plains. Along with these ghats, I will show you coastal plains also. The plain area there near these Eastern and Western Ghats. West to the Western Ghats and east to the Eastern Ghats are the coastal plains. By the name we can easily recognize the plain there in the coastal areas near the oceans. They are present. So west to the Western Ghats and east to the Eastern Ghats, there are coastal plains present. The western coastal plains are very narrow, but the eastern coastal plains are much broader than the western one. Then in the western plains, the western coastal plains, they are narrow, means the width of these plains, that is less than the eastern coastal plains. There are many east flowing rivers such as Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. If you remember, just now we had covered two west flowing rivers. Those were Godavari and those were Narmada and Tapti. Here we are talking about east flowing rivers. They are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, and these all are draining their water. They are in Bay of Bengal. Narmada and Tapti, they drain their water in Arabian Sea. They drain their water in Bay of Bengal and form fertile delta. Clear? When they are draining their water, they are forming deltas. Narmada and Tapti, they are not forming deltas. These rivers are forming deltas when they are draining their water. They are in Bay of Bengal. Delta, as I already told you, the triangular shape land that is formed by the rivers on their mouth. The next is ghats. As ghats we have already discussed Eastern Ghats and Western Ghats. Here we'll discuss the difference between Eastern and Western Ghats. The Western Ghats, first of all. First, the western edge of peninsular plateau are called the Western Ghats. Edge means corner. So, the western corner of peninsular plateau, that is known as the Western Ghats. These Western Ghats are continuous, means the breaks are not there, they are not broken basically, they are continuous. And the third one, their height is 1000 to 1600 meters from the sea level. They are higher than the Eastern Ghats basically. There are different, even the hills, those are high, the peaks are there, like Anaimudi, which is the highest peak there in these ghats, they are in southern part of India. So this is all about the Western Ghat. They are continuous, their height is from 1000 to 1600 meter, and its definition that will give the western edge of peninsular plateau. Now about the Eastern Ghat. The eastern edge of the peninsular plateau are called the Eastern Ghats. Number 2, they are broken and uneven. Clear? They were continuous but they are broken. Their height now, they are lower than the Western Ghats. Their height is 300 to 900 meters from the sea level. So in this way we can even differentiate these both ghats, and one of the important question can be framed here, differentiate between the Western and Eastern Ghats. The next feature, the islands. As I told you that Andaman and Nicobar Island, they are in Bay of Bengal, and Lakshadweep Island, they are in Arabian Sea. These are also the part of India. So firstly, you must know the meaning of island. Why we call them island? Island is a piece of land that is surrounded by water from all sides, as peninsula is a piece of land that is surrounded by water from three sides, but island that is surrounded by water from all sides. So two groups of islands are also the part of India, that I already told you the names. Lakshadweep Islands are located in the Arabian Sea. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are located in Bay of Bengal. Sometimes islands are affected by tsunami. For example, tsunami in Andaman and Nicobar Island in 2004. That really brought a great destruction there in Andaman and Nicobar Island there in 2004. So tsunami, I think you know about that earthquake there in the oceans. That is tsunami, and that really brings the great destruction, the great loss there near the coastal areas when it occurs. So these basically the islands, they are affected by tsunamis many times. One of the example, it is given in the book also, the 2004 tsunami, that when Andaman and Nicobar was affected with that. So this is all about island. Now we will discuss about a coral island. Our Lakshadweep Island is a coral island. So what is this coral island? Lakshadweep is known as coral islands. The reason? It is made of corals. Corals are skeletons of tiny marine animals called polyps. Means these coral islands, they are formed due to the marine animals called polyps. Basically these marine animals, they die, and different new tiny animals, marine animals, they grow on them, then they die. In this way they make the mound there, the land, raised land there, and the island is formed. So the corals are skeletons of tiny marine animals. These tiny marine animals are known as polyps. Climate and sea water are suitable for the growth of polyps. As I told you that they die, and on the dead polyps, then another marine animals, they grow, and in this way they pile up and they make the raised land, they make the island. And climate and sea water, that is very much suitable for the growth of these polyps. Their skeletons pile up and form coral island. So in this is how the coral islands are formed. Clear? And Lakshadweep is known as a coral island. Now look at this map very carefully. This is very important, as the physical features we have done. So we'll discuss here. Firstly, we have done Himalayan mountain. So these in brown color, this Himalayan mountains, and you'll see there the ranges are formed, parallel ranges. The first topmost we can say Great Himalaya, then middle one, this is Himachal or middle Himalaya, and the last one Sivalik. Clear? Then just south to Himalayas, the northern Indian plains, this one we can say. Clear? So this is formed by different rivers we had discussed. Then the peninsular plateau, this area, as I told you, peninsula means surrounded by water from three sides. One, then this is two, this is three. Here this is Bay of Bengal, here it is Arabian Sea, and here Indian Ocean. So this is peninsular plateau in triangular shape. Clear? Different hill ranges as we talked here. These are Vindhyas and Satpura hill ranges. Clear? Here Tapti and Narmada. As we have done west flowing rivers. They are flowing from east to west and draining their water here in the Arabian Sea. Clear? And different other rivers, those are forming the deltas. They are here. They are Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri rivers. They are draining their water in Bay of Bengal. The next feature we had done, Great Indian Desert. This one, it is in west part of India. Then we had done the ghats and the coastal plains. We had done the eastern edge of peninsular plateau is known as Eastern Ghat, this one, and western edge of peninsular plateau is Western Ghat, this one, and just east to the Eastern Ghat it is Eastern Plain, the green color it is there. Clear? And just west to the Western Ghat it is the Western Coastal Plains. Clear about the Western or Eastern Coastal Plains? Then at last we had done about these islands, Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar Islands. Clear? So these were different features, different physical features of India, or you can say the physical divisions of India from Himalayan ranges to the peninsular plateau. Clear everything? I hope that you understood all these points and you got these physical divisions of India. Now let's move towards the homework. Question number 1. Name the major physical divisions of India. Here you will write the name, and this question can be asked separately also, like write a short note on desert, write a short note on Himalaya. Okay? Then the second question it is, which two major rivers fall into the Arabian Sea? Here we are talking about the west flowing rivers basically. Clear? So two major rivers you will write here. Number 3, why do a large number of people live in the northern plains? So you write the reasons here. This question we had done in the previous chapter even. So here why the large population that live there in the plains basically. Number 4, why is Lakshadweep known as a coral island? That we just discussed. So the points you'll write here. Number 5, differentiate between the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats. So differentiation you will write. And the sixth question, do questions 2 and 3 of exercise in book itself. When you will see in the book, there are 2 questions are given, the fill-ups or tick the correct answer. So these 2 you will attempt there in the book itself. Now it's time for the homework solution of lecture number 1. Question 1 was, India shares its land boundaries with 7 countries, name them. India shares its, here apostrophe s will not come, land boundaries with 7 countries. They are Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh and Myanmar. How many states and union territories are there in India? Which states have a common capital? First we will write the number of states and union territories. Like there are 28 states and 8 union territories in India. Haryana and Punjab, they share common capital, that is Chandigarh. Next question 3 it was, why is India a country of vast geographical expanse? Answer, the vast geographical expanse of India. India has an area of 3.28 million square kilometer. Then its north-south extent from Kashmir to Kanyakumari is 3,214 and east to west extent from Arunachal Pradesh to Kutch is 2,933 kilometers. So complete geographical expanse you will write. And if you remember, we had done the latitudinal and the longitudinal expanse also, that can be asked in 1 mark even. So that also you can mention. That's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day. I hope that all the topics are clear to you. Thank you.